Yeah. What would you say is the biggest difference between promoting someone who is doing, for example, a first album release and someone like you did promo for Jorja Smith or Omar Apollo that are like international names?
Yeah, I think the biggest difference is that when you promote an artist that's new, you basically try to get whatever you can get
Mm-hmm.
to get the name out, and yeah, they're not so selective in what they're taking on. And when you do promotion for someone like Jorja Smith or Caroline Polachek or Rosalia, it's more about, okay, what are we not gonna do?
Right.
You know, um, keeping the people away from them. I
Okay.
feel.
Could you give an example?
Yeah, like when we did the Rosalia campaign, she was so hyped at the moment that there was no chance to even get an interview with her. But
Mm-hmm.
then the journalists, all of them, and the biggest ones, they want an interview. They offer you anything. Like they offer interview for online, for print. They offer the first page. They offer like the cover. I even had a journalist who was flying to London just hoping to meet her
Oof.
by a huge magazine in Germany. And that's a difference, and it's not even easier. So it's you have to play more poker with them,
Mm-hmm.
and um I think, and this is what we do with Better Things. We promote all kinds. So we promote really the new ones, and we promote the big ones. And I think the mixture is a good thing to work on.
Mm-hmm. For that Rosalia campaign, that was for El Malquerer, which was before COVID. Um, which is it was I guess it's an interesting campaign to see from the outside as someone who works with music but doesn't do the sort of trying to do sales and stuff side. Um, if you're trying to market something that's a distinctly different audience, like Rosalia is Spanish spoken and it's for generally like a Latin audience, but you're trying to build a tour in or you're trying to do promo in Germany, what's your approach to that? Are you focused on Latinos in Germany, or are you trying to sort of like translate what she does to a German audience?
I mean, when you do promo for such a big artist, you don't have so much freedom anymore to be creative on
Right.
it. You know, it's more like she's been seen as a huge international artist at that point, and the crowd could be anyone,
Mm-hmm.
which it is. Like, of course, she's huge in Latin America, and that's where she became big. And then it swapped over to the US, and then it went to Europe, and at the same time, she was already big in Spain here, and people were going crazy, especially within the LGBTQ scene. She was huge before
Mm-hmm.
she became an international pop star. But yeah, no, when you work with an artist on that scale, you're basically trying to get everyone on board.
Right.
Like there's no certain focus. Like if we work for French artists a lot, especially worked for them in the past for Sony France, and that was more like you were really looking for the communities
Mm-hmm.
because it was French spoken and not huge pop stars. It was more like indie artists, and then when they go on tour, you're really trying to get the communities that live here,
Right.
and try to get the journalists who are like francophile, and these kind of things. But you always try to also place them as an international artist because that's what they want.
Mm-hmm.
They don't. I mean, they. It's good to have those communities, but it's everybody wants to be an international artist.
Yeah. For that campaign, was there a particular focus on print over radio or that kind of swing?
It's always what they hire you for.
Right.
That was by Sony, and I think it was online print,
Mm-hmm.
which we usually do for them. Um, and then you work that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also noticed when I first read, I was looking through your website when I first read that Rosalia was there. I remember specifically being here for the Motomami sort of press because it was everywhere on posters and billboards. And I remember at Warschauer Straße it was like sprayed onto the concrete. Why do you think for that tour that was kind of the more obvious approach of having like basically the logo and the album cover in public spaces instead of more focus on interviews and radio and that kind of thing.
They didn't do promo for this album. They did more like marketing for that album.
Okay. Can you explain the difference?
The difference is that you do stuff like you put big posters and you put the logo and you do funny send outs and you put a lot of money into social media or advertisement, but you do not hire a promoter.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't do that. They did it. Sony did it themselves, and
Right.
so the focus, and probably it was kind of a right approach, because she is huge through social media, and this is also where I see her, where I get news. She's actually playing in the new Euphoria series. I saw that yesterday. And I think it's also a tryout. It's like the majors and the labels, and they're always trying out new things. And then you sit there, you have your budget, and then you think, okay, what are we going to do this time? Like, what do we do something different? Like, do we focus on something? And I mean, Mutamami, that was like 4 years ago or so. Yeah. And that was a time when I think majors were not so convinced anymore about promotion. And then they said, okay, we just put everything into social media and into marketing. So that's what they did.